Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the M&K Productions Podcast. I'm your host, Mac, joined here as usual by my co-host with the most, Christian, aka Miss Flamingo. What's up today?
I'm doing well, feeling exhausted because of the time change. I wish we didn't have that. I wish it didn't existed. Like in time change, I mean like setting the clocks. Sorry, I misspoke on that. So yeah, I am exhausted. I feel like I've gotten no sleep, but I've been a little busy. I just got back from the Montclair Film Festival, which was almost a week ago, and I've been working on a whole bunch of stuff, saw a lot of great films, and I can't wait to talk about them. Hopefully, we can talk about some of the ones I saw in a future episode. And how are you doing, Mac?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Last time you saw me, we talked about the Salem's Lot, and I was mentioning how I had 19 inches of Venom, aka the new Venom popcorn box. So that's fun.
Yes, we talked about that last time.
But
Is he
we are,
still there?
yeah, he's
The
downstairs. I gotta get a shelf soon to put him somewhere, because I don't know where to put them because this is so weird with these popcorn boxes. But actually, it's funny because, well, I mentioned popcorn boxes are topic today. But we're joined here by a special guest, someone we have not had on in a while, but he still holds a place in our hearts. The man, the myth, the Wasteland Reviewer, aka Shane. You're back on the show. Welcome back, man.
Thank you both for having me again. It has been a while. You're a couple of my first Filmstagram friends, so
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
but
nice to
yes.
be back on the show.
it's great to have you back. I'm excited for today's episode because we are going back to 2000 to discuss Gladiator with you in honor of the sequel coming up. I am certainly excited for this. Probably the most excited in terms of Ridley Scott films to be released in a long time. Should we hop into the news?
Yes, let's talk about it because let's get right to the news.
This is CNN, a network of Turner Broadcasting System.
All right, so the news for this episode, I'm starting it off. I'm pissed. This is the second person I've seen that's trying to defend this movie, and I hate it because it's probably right. Guys, have you seen the comments from Quentin Tarantino and Hideo Kojima about Joker Folie et Deux, aka Joker
I
2?
knew this was coming. I sent this to you today, and I was like, we're going to talk about it today. And I'm excited because I'm dying to know, Shane, I really want to know your thoughts on Joker. But Mac, dive into this news.
So, Hideo Kojima, actually, it was Quentin Tarantino, the article came out with him, and then it was Hideo Kojima. Hideo Kojima himself said that in 10 to 20 years, the opinion over Joker Folie et Deux will change. And Quentin Tarantino says he actually thinks it's a great movie and that it'll be reevaluated as a good movie in the future. And I'm like, listen, guys, listen. Now I'm not, personally, I love Kojima, Death Stranding, Metal Gear Solid, Tarantino, I love him. Tarantino has a bad habit of picking weird films to back. Like he just did it for David Lynch's Dune. So this isn't like the first. And if you remember correctly, he was backing the 1998 remake of Psycho, and besides the original. So I'm
Which
like,
I don't understand why, which is
so,
one of the worst things to come out of cinema is that Psycho remake.
so I'm like, he has a weird habit of backing films. Like I don't want to be like your film taste is trash, but I'm like, he knows what he's doing, but it was just these weird films to back. So him saying this in the Hideo Kojima, and Kojima has backed some movies, and I'm like, okay. I think he did a review of Madam Web actually. I think he did a Letterboxd review. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'll start with Shane. Shane, what do you think about the idea that Joker 2 is going to be reevaluated as like a misunderstood masterpiece in like a decade or two?
Arthur, do you remember any of what happened?
Arthur Fleck is a monster.
You should see it out there. They're all going crazy for you. We did this.
That's all, folks.
Joker, only in theaters October 4th. Rated R.
So I did not hate it as much as a lot of people did. Like I was seeing people putting out like this is the worst comic book movie ever made. I'm like,
No.
No, it's definitely not.
I've seen worse for sure. I saw worse this year.
Mhm.
So speaking of Madam Web,
Mhm.
it's one of those kinds of films that there was so many ideas that they had in this, and they just threw everything at the wall. and not everything was going to stick. And it was a bold choice. It was a dumb choice for Warner Brothers, probably, for sure. It's one of those kinds of films I feel like there's going to be a cult following for this film because it's weird, it's ambitious. Like people are going to enjoy the musicality of it and just the wildness of what this movie wound up being. But I don't know. I don't think there's going to be this big giant resurgence of people saying this is an actual masterpiece. But I didn't think people were going to get super nostalgic and start, being like the Fantastic Four movie from 2005 was an underappreciated masterpiece, and Jessica Alba's an amazing Invisible Woman and needs to be brought back. And I'm just like, I don't put past anything from anybody anymore. And I just think it's really weird that Quentin Tarantino has been throwing out all these wild movie takes lately. Because I also saw the Dune one where he's like, he won't watch Dune or Dune Part 2 because of David Lynch's movie. And I'm like, dude, like,
He's missing
it's a good
out.
movie. Watch it.
He's
Like,
missing out on Dune Part 2. So
yeah, well, yeah, he's missing out. He could go enjoy the new Joker movie and think it's the one of the best films of the year, and the rest of us can enjoy Doom Part 2. So there you go.
It's just weird.
exactly. It's a weird take. And here's the thing, if he believes like in the lines of like Joker 2 becoming like a cult classic, I don't see that at all. I see it maybe having a slight resurgence because of Gaga, because Gaga has like one of the most loyal fan bases. It's like Taylor Swift's fan base.
Mhm.
So, and it's got the music in it. Like people listen to that soundtrack. I still listen to it despite the fact I wasn't crazy about the film. But I agree with you, Shane. There's been worse that has been released this year. It's not the worst adaptation at all of Joker. It's like, and it's not really a Joker story. It's like an origin, like not the definite Joker,
Whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, it's
And that's one of the biggest problems of the movie. It's like, what is this supposed to be in the first place? But it's just weird. And it's just like, Quentin Tarantino, go make your last movie. Um, and
yeah, honestly. I mean,
What
I still love the guy, but then again, I say to myself, we all have that one weird or odd film that we all like that nobody else really likes or thinks, oh yeah, this is totally misunderstood, I feel that way about Trap. I know not a lot of people like Trap, but I love that film.
what's funny about this is that I'm starting to remember now of like we're talking about the worst Holly comic book movies. We got one more left. We got Craven the Hunter in December.
Which nobody's looking forward to.
I am
I
looking
still
forward
didn't
to.
see the new Venom yet.
It's a masterpiece. I think Venom, the new Venom movie's overhated in my opinion. I know some people say those movies are trash, and I even said that they're not exactly high art, but I still think that they're entertaining. The second one still sucks, but this one's just a good, like, unhinged mess that is just perfect. And I really hope we get to see Tom Hardy again as Venom in some way, shape, or form because
And
I
that's
need that
what,
again.
and that's what kind of like Joker is too. Is it messy? But there's some audiences who love it, and Quentin Tarantino is obviously one of them.
Yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
watch Dune
apparently.
then.
Moving on to my news story. Shane, I'm gonna let you pick. Do you want to talk about Eva Longoria or Tom Holland news? Because I got two different stories on them.
Let's just stir this pot even more. Let's throw out some Tom Holland news.
Alrighties. This was some big news over the last few days. Amazon MGM Studios, I should say, lands a package deal, American Speed, starring Tom Holland and Austin Butler. So, as I pull up the article details, as my computer is moving ever so slowly, there we go. Following a competitive auction, Amazon and MGM Studios has landed American Speed, a package with Tom Holland and Austin Butler attached to star. The Oscar-winning producer, Charles Roven of Oppenheimer, is attached to produce the film alongside Douglas Banker. Let's see. This story is based on a true story of the Whitening brothers, three historical famous race car drivers two of whom were part of the 1980s IMSA scandal, in which a number of drivers were charged with financing their own racing activities, which proceeds from drug smuggling, money laundering, or tax evasion.
The good old days.
One final note from this article, Holland has had himself a week prior to the news with the next installment of a Spider-Man film officially announcing Dustin Daniel Cretton will come on as director, and filming is set to start soon, as the film is set to be released in July of 2026. And also, on top of that, Holland also signed on to co-star opposite Matt Damon in Christopher Nolan's next film. So Tom Holland's got a lot of work. I know he did take his break from acting. He did start his own little non-alcoholic beer company. But y'all, what do you think about this story with Austin Butler and Tom Holland working together?
I can't wait to hear the same Elvis voice again.
Or maybe he'll go with the Stellan Skarsgård one.
Yes.
Oh no!
So my two immediate thoughts are: one, could they not afford Timothy Chalamet to play the third brother?
Right.
Probably. It probably was in the
two-
cards. It was probably a schedule thing, because I'm sure Timothy would have signed on this thing, but Tom and Timothy look kind of similar.
My second immediate thought is, could they not go all in and add racketeering into this group of charges that they had for getting their money? It's like almost all the mafia crimes, but they just missed out on that racketeering. I know he took a break from acting, it didn't feel like it. Tom Holland's just everywhere. Timothy Chalamet is everywhere. Austin Butler's now everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm shocked that Timothy Chalamet isn't in this movie too. They might as well just, Amazon has that Amazon money. They could just go for it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they're trying to snag Barry Keoghan. He's also everywhere now too.
Do they have a mysterious fourth Irish brother that they could write into the story?
Oh my god.
This definitely, I would like to think that this movie is going to be good, and they didn't even make it yet, so we have no idea. But it just, I don't know. I feel a little oversaturated with this very specific group of young actors that are literally in everything,
Yes.
and it's just like, I'm sure, like, because they're talented. They're talented actors, so will not be surprised if they show up in this movie and do a great job. I don't know. I'm not gonna get super excited about some random movie from Amazon. Also, does Amazon have the best track record
Not
for
really, no.
It's going up and
making the
down
most-
right now, I feel like, this past year.
making the most interesting movies? So, actually, how did they have enough money to make this after they keep making Lord of the Rings Rings of Power? Using all
Racketeering.
of Jeff Bezos' money.
Yeah, racketeering.
They just
Drug smuggling.
It's a scandal and everything.
The drug
It's
smuggling, tax
it's all
evasion.
connected. I mean, it could
This-
be okay.
This movie's a meta commentary on
Yeah.
what Amazon is actually doing to bankroll their movies. So
Jeff Bezos needs to come in.
Shane, were you not a big fan of Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan, the Tom Clancy movie, or the Tomorrow War?
I like Tomorrow War.
I was disappointed in Without Remorse because I am a big fan of, like the Jack Ryan series and all those Tom Clancy stuff. And it's just like, and it's Michael B. Jordan. So like, and Taylor Sheridan wrote it too, which was the most odd random part of it. I don't know. I've lost a lot of faith in Amazon Studios after, they made whatever the hell that show was, Citadel, that the Russo brothers made.
Oh,
my
right
God.
on, right, yes.
Let's be frank here. It wasn't just Disney desperate to bring them back for Marvel. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they were a little desperate for Marvel too.
So you speaking facts because I've been saying the same thing.
Their streaming films have been such a bust. I think like movies like Role Play, Jackpot. I haven't even watched Brothers yet. They've all sucked. So
Listen, I'm just saying, y'all, we're really riding them after Avengers. Like they can do no wrong, and I think they're like, we can do anything, and they're like, can we come back, please?
I feel like the best thing that Amazon Studios MGM has put out recently is Megan Thee Stallion, in her words. And outside of that, I don't think I've been excited for literally any other film that they've put out. Or wait, no. Was My Old Ass
Yeah.
Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Then
And Amazon
never mind.
MGM.
That and In Her Words are the two most
And then we also had Challengers.
That was theaters though. Or there like
Well,
or
that
Doesn't
was-
matter. It's still under the Amazon
Oh,
and
okay,
MGM
okay.
studios as they're together.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about like the straight streaming films and not the okay.
No, this is from what it sounds like, they're gonna aim to put this in theaters, kind of like what they did with like whatchamacallit, Blink Twice earlier over the summer, and then we had Challengers, because that I could see right here as I'm looking through. They also did like Saltburn, so like with the cast like this and talent that's involved, I wouldn't be surprised if they push this out for like a month. I mean, they're gonna do this also for Red One that's coming up, the Chris Evans and Dwayne The Rock Johnson Christmas film. So they're putting their monies on where they think they could see this film gaining the most. And then they'll get those streaming views later.
So how did they afford Tom Holland after they spent $256 million making Red One?
I don't know. Somehow
Jeff Bezos really just has endless money.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos really does have that money.
And he lost half of it in a divorce, and somehow he still has all of this money.
Well, he's making more money as long as they put out more entertaining movies, then hopefully it's all fine. Because I will see
had
this.
Another package arrive from Amazon today, so yeah, I think they'll be
We're all
fine.
suckers to Amazon Prime. I mean, I actually did buy Gladiator in honor of this because I was like, I don't have Gladiator in my collection, so I had next day shipping, so I can watch it over the weekend.
Like, how else would I have gotten my beautiful Steelbook 4K of Furiosa Mad Max Saga delivered to my front door if it wasn't for Amazon?
I gotta order that. Hopefully it doesn't come out damaged. Did they ding it up? I hope they didn't, because I had to order a new copy for Mission Impossible when that came out.
This one came very nice. It's beautiful.
Good. Oh, I should ask you, since you are Wasteland Reviewer, how did you like Furiosa?
So I just rewatched it over the weekend. It's the third time that I've seen it this year. Honestly, it keeps creeping up each time that I watch it. I think that the first time I watched it, it was managing the expectations that it was going to be like another Fury Road, but it's a very different kind of movie than Fury Road. And after watching it for a third time, I'm like, I just really love this movie a lot. Challengers is still my number one movie from this year, and Duna's up there as well, and also Anora, but Furiosa is definitely up there too. So
Anora is like my favorite film of the year. Mac, you got to check that out very, very soon.
At least with Fury Road, I'm glad, not Furiosa, it made people check out the video game, because I always say that the Mad Max video game is actually really, really good. And the fact that the video game's now canon, even though George Miller was like, fuck this game, I didn't work on this shit. What the hell is actually, technically, he did help them develop it, but then he was like, I don't remember that. I was like, damn, he just like, I don't remember that, but no, Furiosa. I think my favorite movie of the year has to be Fall Guy.
That's like my third favorite right now.
It's like Fall Guy and Kingdom Planet of the Apes.
I need you to meet my buddy Rod, if you don't know him already.
Yeah, we have had Rod on here.
So did you talk to Rod about how he saw Fall Guy 7 times in theaters?
That's not surprising.
He messaged me on Instagram.
My hero. But let's move on to my news story, my second one. A few years ago, or a little bit, I think last year, we talked about Robert Zemeckis and how we think that, he's good for what he does. Is it always hits? No, but damn it, he gets an A for effort. And he has a new movie out. People didn't even know about this, because I didn't even know about this. It's called Here. And you
didn't know about this, Mac?
No.
You didn't know about this movie?
It's part of the joke. So it's a new movie that no one heard about, that I didn't know about, at least. And then it's special because it has Robert Zemeckis, Tom Hanks, and what's it? And Robert Wright. Robert Wright. Sorry, I was like, I had to.
It's the team. It's the three of them.
It's the Forrest Gump team. The movie that people either love or hate, but more love. I've met people that hate Forrest Gump. I don't know why. But guys, It's not doing well at the box office. It's sitting at a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think I'm looking at this Deadline article. It's only made $5 million.
That's not surprising to me because I looked at this trailer and then, no, I knew about this movie a long time ago.
Okay.
I knew about this for a long time.
So how do you explain this movie? What is the plot of this movie?
A marriage.
Question.
Are you asking the plot or the conceit of the movie? Because the plot is, hey, look, it's a couple and they have problems.
And that's set in the same home. Like they don't move anywhere. They're set in the same home. It's stationed. This was like.
Is it just the technology of them de-aging them and getting them to the old age?
I think also like how they transition in between time and stuff like that is an interesting approach to it. But like, I saw it on Saturday, and I was sitting there watching this. I was sitting there watching this in a movie theater with like 6 other people, mostly women above the age of 70. And just thinking like, okay, I get this. They have problems. She hates this house, and they're married. They have problems. But it's Tom Hanks. It's Robin Wright. Oh, wait, look, there's Ben Franklin's bastard son's house. Oh, look, there's Native American people. Wait, we're back to them bickering about living in this house. And also, there's so many moments in this movie where they very like wink at the screen saying the word here.
What the fuck?
I'm just like, come now. We get the movie is called
New drinking
Here.
game. How many times they say here, you take a shot.
It could have been.
Here.
I don't know if all those older women would have made it out alive though. So, but surprised nobody saw this movie. And like the trailers didn't do a good job of really selling what it is. It's just a marriage drama with extra stuff thrown in that don't even feel like they fit. And it's just like, I get what you're trying to do, Robert Zemeckis. The whole entire film is from one shot, from one angle, except when it decides that it's not going to, like in the final shot of the movie.
Makes sense.
But like, we're past the time of movie stars selling movies. Like, you can throw Tom Hanks and Robin Wright in this, it's not going to sell this movie. And the fact that The Wild Robot went 11%, made more money than this. And it's like, the robot's been out for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This was a bit of a misfire. And the second it came out of whatever festival it debuted at,
it was AFI.
It was 25%
Damn.
critics rating.
Yeah, it was really
Rotten
bad.
Tomatoes. I'm like, yikes.
Robert's. Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
It was really bad because I was like following coverage for that because it was like coverage from AFI and the Montclair Film Festival I was doing stuff for. I was like going back and forth with all this stuff, and I was like, oh, I gotta know the score for here. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and it's at 35% at the moment with 103 reviews.
That's plenty of reviews, and it's still like not great, you know?
And even the audience rating, which this is like such a sentimental, sloppy movie that it has a 57% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So like, I don't know. Robert Zemeckis has not made like a great movie since like Cast Away.
Literally almost 20
the
years
last
ago.
film I actually enjoyed, and I think we talked about it on the podcast here. I really liked The Walk. I haven't revisited it. I should probably revisit that. So
we did not talk about The Walk. We mentioned it because we talked about
it on the episode.
Yeah. But I did like The Walk though.
I enjoyed Allied. I thought that was like a solid period espionage kind of thing. But like Robert Zemeckis made Back to the Future.
Like, he lost that steam.
Like, I feel like he's been too concerned about trying to be James Cameron, playing around with technology, than like actually making a great movie. And the last time it was literally Tom Hanks and a volleyball.
Listen, this is coming from the same guy who said that motion capture was going to replace animation. So he did this to himself. And that's like, he was on this weird phase of doing all these like uncanny valley motion. Actually, well, no, I still hate Polar Express. Beowulf was eh. And then the Disney Christmas Carol was good. I still wish we got the Yellow Submarine remake in that style because I just want to see the monstrosity of what would have happened with that. But like, and then I remember I think the one movie that everyone was like, "You're not the same Robert Zemeckis that we remembered." It has to be
Was it the Steve
Welcome to
Carell one?
Marwin.
Yeah,
Welcome to Marwin.
Yep, that was the one movie everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And everyone's like,
that was a weird ass movie.
Like
everyone forgot about that.
I remember it because I still remember like the little talking toys. I'm like, oh
yeah.
And like you're right, Shane. He does try to worry about this technology and stuff, and I'm just like, just make a movie because we've covered two of his new movies. We covered Witches in 2020, and
no,
then
we didn't. We didn't review it because I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, that's right. And we talked about Pinocchio though, the Disney Pinocchio.
Yes, we did talk about that.
Where he got out Pinocchio'd by Guillermo del Toro.
Thank
literally.
God. But Robert Zemeckis, that's why, hey, at least Polar Express is back in the theaters. You get your residual checks. It's 20 years old, and maybe you'll do Back to the Future 4 because at this point, I don't even know what do you want to see from Robert Zemeckis next? Like, what can he do to get people back in the audience?
Definitely not a Back to the Future 4 because I don't think that's a good idea because I'm a true fan of that.
But money.
Well,
but money,
did you?
Yes.
Speaking of film stories, where he came out and said that he has a really good script for Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2, but Disney won't make it because they won't make a thing with Jessica Rabbit in it. And I'm sitting there like, you don't know Disney. This is an IP. If you really had a script, any script, they would make it in 2 seconds.
They would make it in a heartbeat because that's part of Disney's thing. They're banking off of the nostalgia. So I'm sure if he presented it, instead of just saying that he has it, write it out, Disney will make it.
He's full of it.
He is. And I think we even said that in the episode when we talked about that.
Yep.
Oh, poor Robbie. Anyways, let's move on to our last piece of news stories. I do want to shout out Deadpool and Wolverine since we did talk about that on the podcast with our friend Don from Talking TV. The film is set to hit on Disney Plus starting November 12th. So if you missed it in theaters, you can go see it. Yeah, it's a sweet little birthday present for you, Mac.
I don't have Disney Plus.
To be fair, I just canceled mine because Disney Plus is one of the most expensive ones I have to pay for, and I was just like, all right, well, Agatha is over, so I'm gonna cancel it. So can't have it all these streaming services anymore. Can't afford it. But anyways, Eva Longoria. Now we'll move on to her. This is an article coming from Deadline. Eva Longoria has developed quite a business savvy over the years and still has some regrets. After making more than double her $6 million investment on the John Wick films after it debuted in 2014, the Golden Globe nominee admitted she wishes she would have continued on with her widely successful franchise that has recently marked its 10th anniversary. What I'm pissed off about is that I wasn't connected to the rest of them. Longoria told Business Insider, this was a one-time thing, that was the gamble, but that was my only mistake, not being attached to all the films. And this article is in regards to Longoria reveals only mistake in investing $6 million in John Wick. So I bring this up too because we love the John Wick films here. Mac and I have talked about them. But an interesting thing to me, I like to see this as, yes, she was a producer, but if she did tap onto these films, do you think she would have starred in them? I think she would have. And probably could replace Halle Berry's character in the third one. So, what do you think of this and Eva Longoria? And do you think she should jump on to continue working on the John Wick films, or is that a no-go?
Oh, she missed out on some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, serious money. She knows. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been saying it.
Lionsgate's like, no, we don't need you. We need all that money. Because they've certainly lost plenty recently.
Yes.
Oh, definitely,
I
yeah.
I would honestly like to see Eva Longoria wind up being in a John Wick spin-off or whatever kind of film as like a really powerful like leader of a family.
Hmm.
So like she only will get her hands dirty when she needs to. But I could definitely see her playing a character like that. Put her in like the ballerina sequel or something, because I'm just assuming we're gonna get a ballerina sequel after ballerina comes out. So I don't know if I'd want her to be in the role that Halle Berry had, but I definitely think she could fit in there somewhere. I think that'd be interesting. That'd be fun.
It makes sense. I think with any of the actors and actresses you see in the John Wick series, you just plug them in the role and it's greatly written with the characters that it works. I mean, we're talking about Halle Berry. They literally like they fit in Common in the John Wick universe. Common was in the second one and that worked. And like
Yeah.
they fit in Halle Berry in the third one. I'm like, you can put her anywhere. And like I think putting her in that family role, I think that would be good. She's like this like because everything's so connected in this universe. I think it could work. So I can see that happening.
Yeah, so I really wanted to acknowledge that because I really did want to recognize John Wick. Happy 10-year anniversary, John Wick.
I'm
I
fucking
love
old.
ya. Yes, I'm old, and
I was my
Keanu
fresh.
Reeves.
I was my freshman year of high school when that came out.
I was 2014, so
Yeah.
yeah, I was a senior in high school.
Oh my god.
Was that what time of year did that come out? I feel
That
like
was
that
the
was
fall of 2014.
yeah, I was starting grad school.
Oh
We were
wow.
all in school when John Wick came out. What the fuck? Oh my god. What happened?
Well, yeah, I've been working at Ride for 8.5 years now,
Oh
so
wow.
there you go. So I love John Wick so much. John Wick Chapter 4 was one of my top movies.
Agreed.
Just absolute perfection.
Yeah.
I,
Well beloved
I
here.
feel like the only regret that I have about those movies is that they didn't get Carrie Ann Moss in them.
Right?
Oh right,
It's okay. They
yeah.
got Matrix Resurrection, so they have the reunion. It's fine.
Okay.
It's a
Oh,
commentary. It's okay. It's a love.
okay.
It's a we're making fun that we're making a sequel to the Matrix. We promise. We're in on the joke, guys, because Keanu Reeves plays a game developer making a sequel to the Matrix. It's like they said in the Rescue Rangers with the ugly Sonic. You can't hurt my feelings if I'm in on the joke. So we can't hurt Warner Brothers' feelings. They know it. They know what's going on.
I could watch John Wick movies nonstop for forever. I
Yeah.
want my Kane sequel because I want Bonnie Yen. I want Rina Sawayama
Yes,
back
I
in
was
it.
gonna say that.
I've become a huge fan of her music since I became
She's
a huge
great.
fan of her after John Wick Chapter 4. I will take a spin-off of the Bowery King because I could listen to Lawrence Fishburne just like choose scenery every 2 seconds for how many sequels they want to give him. I'll take. So yeah, and I want to see a Penguin style like spin-off prequel of Killa because I want to see Scott Atkins in a big fat suit with pearls
Yes.
again doing crazy martial
Mm.
arts.
So
Wild.
I will ask you, Shane, how do you feel of John Wick possibly doing crossovers? Because we've had other films like Atomic Blonde and Nobody that are made by the same team, and they've always said that like there's little hints that they may be connected. Like, how would you feel if those other characters interacted in the John Wick universe? Or you think that they should all stay separate?
I think Atomic Blonde would really fit well,
Mhm.
stylized wise. But seeing Keanu Reeves and Bob Odenkirk together, just like messing people up, sounds like a fun time to me.
It does. It
So
sounds fun, and I feel like they would have really good chemistry together.
mhm.
One of my most prized possessions I actually own. I have a bracelet from Nobody. They like replicated the kitty cat bracelet.
Nice.
So I am waiting to go see Nobody 2 and just wear my kitty cat bracelet because I don't wear it out because it's like that, fake material and I'm afraid to lose it. But it's so fun.
Well, after Borderlands, Killer's Game, what else the hell did Lionsgate lose a crap ton of money
Oh
on
God.
recently? Oh,
Oh.
Megalopolis. Well,
Megalopolis, they had
technically,
it's
Francis Ford
Utopia
Coppola
too.
paid them to
Yeah.
Yes.
distribute it. So I don't know
Yeah.
how much money they lost on that. But
And then they did The Crow too, right?
Yes, they did.
Yep.
so what I'm imagining is Lionsgate hires a truck, dumps a whole bunch of money on Keanu Reeves' front lawn, and he's like, "I'm thinking I'm back." And then he's not dead, and we get
He just
chapter
rises up
5.
from the dead.
Actually, that is my theory that they just buried him to say that John Wick's dead, but he's still alive. That's
Yeah.
like my theory because you never see like the body, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like back
And
pocket.
no doubt, where if they need to pull the trigger and make more of these movies, they will.
And
And generally, I hate when they do stuff like that, but I'll make an exception.
Yes. It's Keanu. You have to. It's Keanu. That's like one of the only exceptions I like will do it for. That even goes for like Nicolas Cage too. Like that's how I feel. So
If they get Nick Cage to be a villain in
oh
a John
God,
Wick
Shay, you're
movie, I'm
speaking my language.
gonna lose my mind.
Or what if in the new Spider-Man Noir they get Keanu Reeves to do a cameo?
Ah,
I can't wait for that
He's-
show. That's gonna be
he's-
a off the walls like show. I'm all for
man.
it.
all right,
Yeah.
anyways, that was our news.
Yeah, the fuck you, Lionsgate, mixed murder movies.
So
Yeah,
we talked crap about Amazon, MGM, and Lionsgate.
yeah. that
Well,
sounds
I
fun.
hope you both were not hoping for any sponsors someday.
I mean, we've gotten screeners. I mean,
This is our job. This is our thing. This is what we do. If you don't like it, then tough.
they
If you
gotta
don't
know
like it,
how
make
we
better
feel.
movies.
Yes. What'd you say, Kristen?
We're journalists and critics, so we're allowed to say that.
Yes, but I think we should move on to the topic. So let's take a trip to Rome in 180 AD and let's talk about 2000s Gladiator.
Gladiator. Rated R.
All right, so the topic for today, in honor of the new film coming out in a few weeks, actually, we're going to be talking about the 2000 classic Gladiator, directed by Ridley Scott, starring our favorite. Is he Scottish? Oh no, is Russell Crowe New Zealand? I'm sorry. Whoops. Yes, well, our favorite
right.
New Zealander, Russell Crowe, and this movie is iconic because it follows the plot of this movie follows Maximus, a gladiator in Rome who's seeking revenge. That's I'm gonna say that, and we're gonna spoil it. This movie's 24 years old. If you haven't seen it yet, then that's really your fault. But
Yeah.
this movie, this is one of Ridley Scott's kind of crown jewels in his hat. It's a really fantastic movie, and I've actually always wanted to talk about it because I'm actually the only one in this household that's seen the movie. So, there's that. It's very iconic, and Christian blew my mind because I thought it was only 20 years old, but when I realized it was 2000s, I was not even one when this came out yet because I was born in 99. So I watched this movie way later. My first interaction with it is that my uncle, who passed away, he in his house in Myrtle Beach, he had the poster of Gladiator, and I looked at it. I said, "That looks badass." And we all watched it, and it's such a great movie. Like it really, really. And this is crazy because this is like we'd be like this is more of a defined version of 300, even though 300 is still good. But I think I prefer Gladiator more because it's more
On a cinematic scale, Gladiator is better than 300. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it blows my mind that it's 24 years old.
Christ.
I was only 5 years old, and then I didn't see the film until like maybe I was like in high school. and this is probably like the first time in more than 10 years since I've seen it. So it was nice to go back in time for this because I know I wanted to talk about this for the sequel coming out. So, and my husband hadn't seen it, so he got to see that. And I do want to bring up something. Hi, Dylan. I love you. I'm sorry I'm about to embarrass you, but he fell asleep during this. He fell asleep for a third of the film. And I didn't even know it because I was just paying attention the whole time for today's topic. And he's just like, I fell asleep, but he liked what he saw for the most part. But, anyways, Jane, your first time with Gladiator.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius,
Oh, hell yeah.
commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Is the most
Imagine having that on a.
badass.
Sorry, do you imagine having that like on a business card? Like that whole thing?
Probably someone
You
does
just
have
like
that.
it's like, what do you do for a living?
That whole
Just
line.
hand them the business card. I was 9 when this came out. I remember my mom having a double VHS of this because it's
The
long.
double VHSs. Oh man, I remember
And
this.
I remember watching this for the first time and just being blown away. And this is like up there with Braveheart as the ultimate dad movies. My dad is a humongous fan of Gladiator, to confirm. And this movie is the best movie you're ever going to see watching a Kiwi Australian export playing a Spaniard using a British accent. So, and I think the funniest thing is when people saw the trailer for Gladiator 2 and were complaining about Denzel's American accent, and I'm just like, did you watch Gladiator? Do you understand that none of this is historically accurate and this is absolutely ridiculous and that's what makes
Yeah.
it so amazing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is a towering epic film that starts off so strong with that big battle scene and everything. Russell Crowe adding so much depth to a character that could be pretty simple, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in the wrong hands could have felt really unremarkable. But come on, are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Why are you not entertained?
That's the best
Just
line, and it goes down as one of the best lines in cinema history.
yep. And you have the likes of Oliver Reed, who plays
Yeah.
Proximo, who unfortunately passed away during filming of this. You have Joaquin Phoenix just being his weird ass self
He's so good at it, and I'm
as
gonna
Commodus.
expand on that.
And Richard Harris is Marcus Aurelius. And just like Roman Grandpa.
Got Connie Nielsen, who's actually in it, and then is returning for the sequel.
Yes, the only returning person for the sequel.
Well,
Yeah.
And it's just there's so many great character actors like Derek Jacobi, and you have Daijin Hansu, and so many great talented actors in this. And the music. If you're watching the Battle of Carthage in the Colosseum and you hear Pirates theme, you're not hearing things because they basically just ripped off the pirate theme from this one section of the Gladiator score.
Yeah.
But it's just everything about it is so incredible. The effects, everything, and just I think Maximus is one of the coolest, most badass, tough protagonists ever in a movie.
He is. I really like the characters here. On a whole film overall, it's really good. And I think the action sequences are really good, like what you just had said. I think it touches on the themes really, really well and pretty much precisely because it's a story of revenge. However, I do think it does get dragged out, and I'm just like, all right, because I was losing some steam a little bit towards the end, and not watching this for a second time, I'm like, all right, I'm starting to get, I get it, let's just wrap it up, but What else could I say about it? I'm trying to think. But Mac, what do you want to add on to this?
Man, do you know that this film's not historically accurate?
Besides that,
I think that they did it. I think people were mad that just a lot of things kind of happen, um, it's just you telling me that they didn't have like these creatures in the Roman Colosseums fighting? Like what? I always thought that was funny because that leads into the second film because early critics were saying the historical like this is historically accurate and Ridley Scott was pretty much saying shut up, and I'm getting flashbacks to what happened with Napoleon last year, and I said oh no, if this movie does it good he's gonna do one of two things. He's gonna blame us millennials and Gen
yes.
Zers for being on our phones, or he's gonna blame the historical people for. So it's gonna either go one of two ways. Because
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No,
that's what it is. It's always one of us.
It's our fault because we just can't appreciate his filmmaking. But I don't know. I think with this story in this film, I think what's probably the most shocking with a film like this is the way that it ends. Because in any other type of film, you'd expect the character to get the revenge and maybe live happily ever after. But I think it's established really early on that he's not happy, and he's like, I will literally die to get my revenge. And spoiler, he died. Like he dies at the end. And I think when I first watched it, I didn't expect him to die. And then I think the shot of him dying, but he sees it. That's like one of the most that I always said Ridley Scott, his directing's a little iffy. His cinematography is amazing, and that shot of him just seeing his wife and son in the afterlife was amazing as he was dying. Like I thought that was such like a great shot, and like I think that it's like this is no happy ending, and he's kind of like remembered as this legend of freeing Rome from this tyrant, and then
right.
It does give you the intrigue to be like, what happens in this new movie? Like, what has happened in that time frame to get to where we were? Especially that Paul Mescal is going to be his son that we do see in this film. So I just think that the ending was a lot interesting because I didn't know Gladiator would need a sequel. I thought that the story just told us when Maximus was fine, but that's just me.
So there were a lot of rumors about the original script for Gladiator 2 being Maximus in the afterlife and having to go toe to toe with the gods. And I'm like,
God of War! That's God of War! Oh my
I'm
God.
like, and you didn't give us?
That would have been awesome.
And which is so funny because Russell Crowe came out and said that he's feeling a little left out. And apparently Ridley Scott's response was, "You're effing dead."
Yeah.
So, if this movie doesn't wind up being financially successful or doesn't turn out to be good, at least we'll have Ridley Scott being a grumpy old bastard to enjoy.
I have to tell you about the since I mentioned I got the movie Gladiator. It came out in the 4K, so it came out with the original and then the extended version. So we watched the extended version. I was like, why don't we watch the original? But my husband was like, I just want to see the extended, and I was like, okay. So the extended edition came out in 2005, and oh my God, if Ridley Scott hates his audience, it's obviously in the first like 15 minutes because it's like not 15 minutes, 15 seconds, excuse me. They do like an introduction for the extended edition, and he looks so pissed off that he has to say, he's sitting there, like we're all recording this on camera, but this is an audio podcast. He's sitting there like this. He's like, hello, thanks for coming to watch my extended edition, blah, blah, blah. And then just not even like, thanks for purchasing the movie. Thanks for supporting the film. Like, yeah, just watch this thing.
Why is he so angry?
Like, he looks like he's angry with the world.
I want to watch an interview with Ridley Scott talking to John Carpenter, and I want to see which one seems like more of a grumpy old director who's just done with the shit. But anyway, this film is such a breath of fresh air at the point when it came out because Sword and Sandal films have been dead. Like dead for a long time.
Yeah.
And this was a special time period between I would say between the release of The Mummy in '99 and Pirates of the Caribbean, where we got some legitimate, like, old school action adventure films that we just don't get that kind of filmmaking anymore. And Gladiator is definitely one of them because, like, we don't get like period stuff like this. Like Troy wouldn't exist, I don't think, if it weren't for
No.
Gladiator
Yeah.
coming out when it did. And it's such a impressive feat for uh Ridley Scott because what an interesting director and such a wide range of different films. Like his biggest film, one of the biggest films in the '90s was Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then he made this, which is wild.
Yeah.
You think he was working on this while he was doing that? He was just writing down like
He was
fucking
he was storyboarding.
It's like it. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Shane. I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, like it's like you remember the story of George Miller was working on Fury Road, he was working on Happy Feet. Like I want to see what that office looked like of like storyboarding Fury Road, and you got like the Happy Feet penguins, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, he just like there's like I wish there was like a penguin in Fury Road. He just mixed up the scripts.
No,
Just watching Grandpa Wasteland just chilling there, being like, I made made these penguins so colorful. What if I made Mad Max
Yeah.
colorful?
yes, honestly. I just have to
And then
say, I don't
then he
think
did.
Ridley Scott was working on Gladiator. I think he was saving his energy for House of Gucci.
House of Gucci.
He was waiting to find.
I'm Jared Leto in a fat suit. You see my bald head. I'm gonna Is this an Oscar film yet? It's Lady Gaga's in it.
And Adam Driver.
Yes.
I think Jared Leto was in the wrong movie. I think he thought he got cast in Super Mario Bros.
Oh no!
Which
I wish that now.
For House of Gucci, I think he would have been a great Mario, to be perfectly honest.
You forget like even like Chris Pratt just sticking Jared Leto.
So I just want to point out here. So between 2021 and now, Ridley Scott is going to be the Gladiator 2 is his fourth film, and somehow it's the shortest one at 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Bullshit.
Because The Last Duel, 2 hours and 32 minutes, House of Gucci, 2 hours 38 minutes, Napoleon, 2 hours and 38 minutes. And I really hope that Gladiator 2 is much more The Last Duel than it is House of Gucci.
Yeah.
Mamma mia.
I have a soft spot for The Last Duel. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was incredible.
That movie's great. And nobody saw it. They all went to go see House of Gucci.
Yeah, they were waiting for that, and I was like, well, some of us picked the right movie, and some of us picked the wrong movie here.
I just hope it's better than Napoleon, because Napoleon was so disappointing for me. I was so excited for that, and I was just like, what is this? And I guess
it was a horny mess. That's what it was.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, like it was literally gold. And I think with Ridley Scott, he's like, I can get it out. You think if Gladiator 2 is good, they might get an Oscar? Because it is Oscar season now.
Well, they're predicting it could be nominated, because I imagine like Dune Part 2 being nominated in this as like the epic box office films to be nominated, because there's always like one or two that gets nominated, like Barbie, and and then we have the others, like holdovers, like all the cinematic ones too. Not saying Barbie's also cinematic, but
it is cinema.
It is cinema. But to have two like epic films is kind of exciting, because I want to say it's been a good year for film, and with Gladiator 2, it looks like it's going to be an epic good time, and it has like all the markings right now to be nominated of like Best Picture.
I must have power.
Must have. Just God, Denzel sold my ticket.
Same.
The second I saw the trailer, I was just like, sold, done. I don't need anything else in this movie.
He's just gonna. I can't wait for him to say like my Gladiator.
I just what's wild is the fact that Ridley Scott is so cranky and so angry about everything and is still pumping out like $300 million movies. I'm like, who's getting money? But anyway, I last time
Jeff
I saw
Bezos is giving him the money. Going back to that.
there you go.
Connected.
I did see that Hollywood Reporter put out their most recent odds for Best Director. And after this screened, Ridley Scott was number one.
Oh.
That's interesting.
So
Which
Yeah.
and
Oh, go
then
ahead.
Edward Berger was number two for Conclave, which I thought was even more interesting.
I liked Conclave, but his direction stands out, I would say, more in All Quiet on the Western Front. But man, I would love to have seen like Denis Villeneuve or like then
He's gonna get screwed over again. It
he
is
is.
nonsense.
he's about to be like, I'll
Or-
make my own
or-
awards show with blackjacks and hookers.
Or I would say Sean
Were we invited?
Baker.
Yes.
I would love to see Sean Baker nominated this year.
I hope Sean Baker does get nominated for a Nora. I feel like this is his best shot yet.
It's
for
his
sure.
time, but
But I do kind of hope that Ridley Scott wins because I can only imagine what that acceptance speech is going to be like.
It's gonna be a fuck
gonna-
you. It's just gonna be like, fuck you. I still make good movies. I'm 86. Bite me. You didn't watch Last Duel. You didn't watch House of Gucci. You didn't watch Napoleon. You watched Gladiator 2. I made that shit because of me. It's like I'm just like. Did you all ever watch Snowfall?
no.
Great show. There's a scene where the main character, frankly, is like, I built this shit. Me, brick by brick. I was like, that's gonna be him at the. Maybe he'll smile. Maybe if they win, he'll actually smile.
Yeah, he would actually smile for once.
It'll be like Mandy from Billy and Mandy, where she smiled and the whole universe just ended. It's like, you mess with the natural order.
I want Denzel to go up with him and match his energy.
So my director, what's up? No, I will beg this question. This was in the 2000s, and like, what other big name movies came out in 2000 that really competed against Gladiator? Do we
okay,
know?
so I was gonna say I had the nominated movies from the 73rd Academy Awards. So Gladiator won Best Picture, but in this category of films it was nominated with was Traffic, Aaron Brockovich, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Love that movie.
And then Chocolate, which is the Johnny Depp film.
I just love Johnny Depp and I love chocolate.
That's what got him the role of Willy Wonka. That was his role that got it in there. So really, Gladiator had no competition, to be honest with you.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Traffic maybe, but the rest I was like, wow.
That makes me sad that Chocolat got nominated for Best Picture and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou did not.
Yeah, that's something. And then Ridley, since he didn't win for Best Director, Steven Soderbergh won for Traffic. Then it was Stephen Darby for Billy Elliot, Ang Lee for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Steven Soderbergh for Aaron Brockovich, and then of course Ridley Scott. Go ahead.
That's such a snapshot. You mentioned Ang Lee winning something, and that you say that in 2024, like the guy who made the Incredible Hulk, he went from that to the Incredible Hulk. Like, what happened in 3 years?
A lot has happened with that man.
Well, excuse me,
well,
man.
no, he did Brokeback Mountain. Didn't he? And then he did Brokeback Mountain too in between there.
And then he did Gemini Man.
Gemini Man.
Gemini Man.
But who's in the as best actor? Because I know Russell Crowe won.
Okay, best actor Russell Crowe won. Then it was Javier Bardem.
Okay.
As my computer is moving slow. Tom Hanks for Castaway. This is going back to our discussion on here and our Robert Zemeckis connection. Ed Harris.
Chocolat got nominated for Best Picture, but Castaway didn't. Wow.
Yeah, that's a question there. Ed Harris for Pollock, and then Jeffrey Rush for Quills, which I have never seen. But I've seen just pretty much all of these. But for Best Actress, that was Julia Roberts. I was gonna say it was Connie Nielsen in there, but no, she wasn't. I thought she was.
She would have been supporting, I guess.
Supporting, yeah. I guess, yeah, you can say that. And then supporting actor, it went to Benicio del Toro for Traffic. I mean, you can't go wrong with Benicio del Toro. I think he's a tour de force. Tour del force. Sorry, I'm trying to make that funny there, but it's not working. Excuse me. Then we got Jeff Bridges, Willem Dafoe, Albert Finney, and then Joaquin Phoenix, obviously. I mean, that was a really good cast of nominees.
Mm-hmm.
They could even throw Oliver Reed in there too for Proximo.
I think if I got to vote for either Benicio del Toro or any of them, I actually would have voted for Joaquin Phoenix because I think, personally, he outperforms Russell Crowe. I thought Joaquin Phoenix was so stinking entertaining. That man was so oh my god, I can't even talk. Villainous to watch. I just couldn't look away. Like, okay, I was like, yeah, Russell Crowe's great, but my god.
I think,
Joaquin Phoenix.
The dynamic with the villain and the hero in this movie, I think, is an underrated aspect because with Maximus, he is kind of like you mentioned, Shane, the dad energy movie. He is like that macho guy. He's like, I want revenge and I will kill you. And Joaquin's like, I don't think you're gonna get revenge. He's like that slimy, just villain, and it works. It's a good balance, and I'm curious to see how that's gonna.
Villain.
I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it in the new film because it kind of seems like it's just two more Joaquins running around with this.
Yeah, basically.
I'm like, it's too lucky. But there's another thing. How do you think audiences are gonna go to the movies to see the new one with the original one being like this much old? Because people like me, I didn't watch this when it first came out. Like I watched it when I was older. Do you think that a lot of people who saw the first one are gonna go see this new one, or is this new one just kind of a good way to get the new generation to go back to the old one?
It's the same way I see it as what it was for Twisters. Honestly, like that's the way I'm seeing it as, at least for me. But Shane,
I think it'll be a very interesting thing to see if Gladiator 2 and Wicked turn into a mega box office weekend together. I'm hoping for it because movies could use it. And then you got Moana 2 coming out the next week too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
I think this movie will make a good amount of money, but I don't think it'll make a profit because I think, from what I understand, this movie's budget ballooned past $300 million.
Yeah.
Because Ridley Scott apparently doesn't know how to count money anymore.
No.
And it just keeps going. He's like, it's not my money. Just
idiots
throwing it everywhere.
Yeah.
But this is so bad, but the first thing I thought of, we got a couple of, instead of like Joaquin, we got like two twin emperors, and then Pedro Pascal there to just be like, we need to have like manly dad figure in this movie, and we got Pedro Pascal to be it this time.
And then we got Joseph Quinn too.
Yep.
Who's in this, which I was like, oh wait, he's starring in this? I completely forgot. So go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say they seem like a couple little shits. The two emperors in this.
Yeah, I was surprised they casted Fred. I don't know how you say his last name. Fred, how do you say it? His name is Fred.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't actually know what his name is. But he's the other emperor because apparently Gladiator 2 needs two times the emperors.
2 times the trouble.
I'm reading apparently that the idea for the sequel started back in like 2001. So like a year after the first one came out. So he's been working on this for 23 years at least.
Yeah.
How do you say the guy's name? Fred
Heschinger?
Heschinger, because he was in Thelma, and I absolutely love Thelma. And I was like, okay, If I love what he did in Filma, then hopefully I like what he does in this, because I wasn't a fan of that pure street films. And then
Shane, I'm looking at Wikipedia, and you mentioned the early script, how it was going to be him in the Afterlife Fighting the Gods. The working title for the script was called Christ Killer.
what?
That's what it says.
Man.
It says, in May 2006, Scott stated that DreamWorks Pictures had wanted to make the sequel, that there were differing ideas for the story. Crow had favored a fantasy element in bringing Maximus back to life, while the studio were basing the film on Lucius as the son of Maximus and Lucia. Scott was also discussed the necessity of a more complex script with the corruption of Rome in the potential sequel. During this time, Nick Cave was commissioned to write a new draft of the script. It was later revealed to be written under the working title of Christ Killer. Cave described the plot as a deities versus deity versus humanity story. The story involved Maximus in purgatory, who is resurrected as an immortal warrior for the Roman gods. Maximus is sent back to Earth and tasked with ending Christianity by killing Jesus and his disciples, as Christianity was draining the power of the ancient pagan gods. During his mission, Maximus is tricked into murdering his own son. Cursed to live forever, Maximus fights in the Crusades, World War II, and the Vietnam War, with the ending revealing that in present day, the character now works at the Pentagon. The script was rejected and scrapped.
What do you mean it was rejected? I wonder why that was rejected.
That sounds so batshit insane. Like, okay.
I wanted it to exist.
And he blames audiences. What?
Well, to be fair, that was not Ridley Scott who wrote that.
That was Nick Cave.
It's still, it would have it.
I would pay to see that. I 100% would have paid to see that. That's insane.
Oh, and by the way, the guy who wrote it, Nick Cave, he's a singer, Australian singer. The reason why he wrote that script is because he's friends with Russell Crowe. So Russell Crowe went to bat to have him write the script for the movie.
That would be Russell Crowe's idea. Man.
The man's unhinged.
Unhinged. I just looked up the cast list for Gladiator 2 and realized Rory McCann, aka the Hound from Game of Thrones, is in this.
Yeah.
And that just makes me that much more excited. He better be one of the gladiators.
Fucking Christ. Can you imagine that was Gladiator 2? It's like, because God of War came out in 2005. And like God of War is about Kratos killing all the Roman gods, Greek gods. How would you follow that up with Gladiator 2 when Russell Crowe's just killing Jesus? Oh my Lord. That's 2 years after Passion of the Christ. It's a bit like, oh my God, like that sounds so insane. I kind of want to see it.
I wish it happened. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, before we wrap up, I do want to say that I know we were talking about the inaccuracies, how Gladiator...
This movie is 100% accurate.
It was nominated for Best Screenplay, so you could say it probably didn't win because of those inaccuracies.
Nah, it's fine. It's okay.
Oh, but anyways, Shane, in terms of grade or grading scale, what do you give Gladiator?
I would probably say a good 9 out of 10. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 from pure enjoyment standpoint. But, you know, that especially because, like, there's certain things that have aged poorly. I think, to your point, I do think that when it starts getting really bogged down in we must start this revolution of Rome, I do think it drags just a little bit in that, like, tail end of the second act and the third act. But it's just, this is old school filmmaking, genre filmmaking to the max, and I love it.
Same, I love it too. I think I'm giving it more of like an 8 out of 10, but I'm sure it would have been a 10 out of 10 if I was old enough to see it in a theater. So yeah, it has aged, but that can be said about any film. But
I think it aged
on Epix. It's aging nicely though, I will say that. But you can tell it's been like, okay, yeah, it's been some time now. But
feels like something. The first film feels like it's something that would have been come out in like the 60s during like that big epic Hollywood era. And it's just weird that like it got into the 2000s. That's why it feels kind of like a throwback. And like seeing the new movie will probably be the same thing. Like, damn, I haven't seen a movie like this since Gladiator. And that was 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Or like The Last Duel if people actually saw it.
Yeah.
Nah, we were on our phones the whole time. We were
Oh
assholes.
yeah, we were on our
Respect.
phones buying tickets for House of Gucci.
Yes, we were supporting you, Ridley.
Mac, what do you get the film?
I'm gonna give it an A. I think that it's a solid film throughout, and I really like. I think a lot of people may be a little bit turned off from like maybe the middle half of the movie because it does drag on a bit. But I think the last act of this film really do bring it up. It's like god level of a film. I will safely say it's probably in my top 100 films of all time.
Good point. Alrighties, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments on Gladiator and if you're gonna go check out Gladiator 2. Anyways, let's wrap up, shall we, Mac?
Yes, so we got some fun coming up in these next couple episodes. But before we do that, I figured we go around and ask this week because we haven't really asked in a while. What have y'all been watching?
I was thinking about that. I was going to ask you guys that.
Watching TV shows, any movies? I can start out myself. I was highly disappointed. I watched Like a Dragon, Yakuza on Amazon Prime, and that is some ass, reminding me that all video game adaptations cannot work. Damn you, Amazon, Jeff Bezos. I have saw the trailer for Squid Game Season 2. Looks pretty interesting. A lot of questions. I don't know why the guy would go back for the second game, but we'll probably deal with that later. Watch Jackpot with John Cena and Aquafina. Terrible. Venom The Last Dance was something too, and I'll probably be going to go see Gladiator 2. And Godzilla Minus One's back in theaters, so I was probably gonna go see that as well to see it in IMAX because Godzilla's 70 years old. And yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Shane, what have you been watching?
So I got to see Anora yesterday, which I was super happy about. Drove into Philly to go see that. Such a great film. I have spent the past 74 weeks watching John Ford movies for my Welcome to the Wasteland show. And I have 6 more, and we're so close. But I watched Sergeant Rutledge, one of his later films that I really liked a lot. And it was definitely a surprise. Rewatched Furiosa again and loved it to pieces. Had a cool double dose of documentaries from this past weekend with Megan the Stallion and Her Words and then music by John Williams. That was an interesting double feature Friday night. They're both about music, right? They're obviously the same. And television wise, that 1-2 punch of the Penguin and Agatha all along has been a wonderful ride so far this fall. And I just watched the second to last episode of the Penguin, and damn, that show.
It's the best show of the year, honestly. I love it. I thought out of DC and Marvel, Penguin is winning this round, honestly. I thought Agatha was just okay. In terms of what I'm watching, I got to show my husband the Quiet Place films in honor of spooky season. So we watched those, and then I was at the Montclair Film Festival, and I saw a bunch of films like Conclave, what I mentioned, Anora. I saw a beautiful animated film called Flow, which is set to come out in theaters December 6th. See it. It's the best animation film I've seen. Probably better than, I'm going to say it, Across the Spider-Verse and maybe Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It's so good. I saw Night Bitch, which I read the book for, and I'm going to be reviewing that soon. I saw Small Things Like These, another book I read for the film, and I absolutely loved that. Really great. I saw you reviewed it, Shane, for Sip Pop. So did you enjoy it?
I really did. And there's so many things that could be checking out this fall. And I'm hoping that a lot of people try to check out some of these smaller films and stuff like that.
Small Things Like These is incredible. Like if you loved
Cillian
does it once again. If you loved him in Oppenheimer, then you're gonna love him in Small Things Like These. He did a really great job. Then I saw Amelia Perez, wildest ride of the year. Loved it, every single minute of it. It's so good. And then I watched Late Night with the Devil. Finally got to see that. Watched Olivia Rodrigo's Guts World Tour. I was singing that over the weekend. And then, of course, just Penguin. And then Dancing with the Stars because I love that kind of stuff. But that's what I've been watching. And then Agatha as well, but we'll see what happens as we enter the last phase of 2024.
Man, Agatha was mid, but Audrey Plaza is
She was the best part of that show.
fine. I'm a taken man now, but I can still say it. She was fine and dandy as death, and I'm like, damn, you can reap me any day, Audrey Plaza, because you are great.
Anyway,
Actually, you know what's funny with the Penguin? That's a better character study than Joker was.
I would say better study than Joker 2, obviously.
That's what I mean, Joker 2. I didn't mean, yeah.
I'm kind of back and forth on it if I like the Penguin more or the Batman more, honestly, but
they're
I don't know.
both good.
So good. Like they're both so good, and I cannot wait to see how the finale wraps everything up. Maybe we'll have to talk about it next time we record, Mac.
Maybe. I have to watch it, so I've never watched it.
You haven't watched Penguin yet?
No. My
Mac!
HBO Max was shut off because I couldn't pay the bill. So now I just got it back.
Good.
So
good. Catch up before
catch up.
Sunday. Catch up before Sunday.
No promises. But I will try to watch it. I do want to watch it though. It looks good. I like Colin Farrell. I'm glad he's getting this love as this Oswald Cobblepot.
He's so good in it. Like honestly, the way he talks in that film, like my husband likes to mock him and like he'll quote, and he'll be like,
I still remember the movie where they showed the picture. It's like, what is this? Come on!
What are you doing?
Silly.
Come on!
Yeah, he sounds like that.
Come on!
Such like a true New Yorker. It sounds like it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
But I think that's gonna wrap up for this episode. Shane, thank you so much for coming on and being on this episode again. It was awesome to have you on again. Where could the good folks find you, and what do you got coming up next in the pipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back. One of the big things I'm trying to push is my new website, the wastelandreviewer.blog that I've had since earlier this year. I always have the Wasteland Reviewer YouTube channel with my 3 weekly shows, 2 of them around 200 plus episodes at this point, the other 150, which is insane. All the reviews that I do, and then I'm pretty heavily involved in the SPDM Crew podcasting network because I got 5 podcasts on there. Because what the hell am I doing with my life? I need more stuff to do, apparently.
I feel that.
Well, you had a lot to do, so it's keeping you busy, so that's good. Keeping the passion of film alive, which we love to see here. Next time, guys, we are still figuring out what is in the works for us, but expect a Gladiator 2 review. We are going to go over the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift Hallmark film, which we will be. But I do have to bring this up, Mac. Lifetime is coming out with their own too.
It's gonna be a competition.
It's a competition, so we might have to do a double feature and say which one is better.
I'm excited. Yes. Yes, I love it.
And the Lifetime one looks like a pile of crap compared to the Hallmark one. I'm like,
that's
wow.
saying a lot too.
I saw the trailer. I need to see your reaction to it before we sign off for tonight. But anyways, y'all, that concludes our episode. Expect more fun. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and our Twitter pages, social media, and Mac. We have to do it. I want to do it. Can you give a shout out to the nice, good old people on Patreon?
Yes, our patrons for this month, it's going to be our same 3 guests that we've had on, but we still love you. It's Darius, aka D Riptide, Audrey Hayes, and Lily Maxima, our 3 patrons. Remember, you can donate to our Patreon. It's 7 days for free to start, and that's $1.50 a month. Get early access to our news and what we're going to be talking about, and then early access to special guests we may have, because there's guests we may not be able to say publicly, but we can say it in the Patreon server. So make sure you go check it out in the description below. You'll get a shout out on every new episode. Until next time, I've been Mac. This has been Kristen, and this has been our special guest Shane, aka the Wasteland Reviewer. And you've been listening to the M&K Productions Podcast. We will see you all in the next video. Peace.
Bye.